to bring in Paul Finebaum to recap the midway point of the season. And Paul, I always do this big picture. We had some marquee games. We'll dive into each of them as we always do. What was your prevailing thought from a Saturday that was built? I mean, the games were good matchups. Some of them didn't live up to the hype. What did you think about Saturday?
Yeah, I thought it was a really good day. I can't get over Indiana doing what the Hoosiers did out at Oregon. I thought that was probably the biggest and most important story of the day. I was in Missouri, so I was pretty locked into Alabama surviving. Mizzou, it wouldn't be a Sunday morning if Auburn wasn't completely and totally screwed on a call. So we'll talk about that. There's just so many, and then James Franklin just will not let us leave us alone. Every time we think he has reached the bottom, he has found a new bottom, which I don't think anybody could have ever seen coming.
No, and it's kind of a great Cliff's Notes for what we're going to get into today as my autoplay continues to come on. That's also a tradition like any other. The Matt Barrie Show presented by Allstate. You'll hear my computer autoplay. Let's dive in to the biggest story, I believe. And one game you did not mention, we'll also get into, is Oklahoma, Texas, because I think that was a fascinating decision by Oklahoma. I don't want to dive into that yet. I do want to dive into Indiana, Oregon, because, Paul, we know the story with Indiana last year. It was like, oh, the little engine that could. What a cute little story. He brings all of his JMU players in. They fight, and then they get to the playoff and they absolutely get killed. So then everyone thinks Indiana's a fraud. They come in this year. They bring in some portals. They return their 2 receivers. They get Roman Henby, the transfer running back. They bring in some defensive guys. They beat the hell out of Illinois, and we're like, okay, that's all well and good, but how good is Illinois? So then we all point to this week on the road at Oregon, the Big Ten champion from a year ago, one of the best teams in the country. Do they get mopped up? Do they compete, or do they win? The answer is, Paul, do they win? And I'm sitting here today, October 12th. Forget Indiana being a good team. I think Indiana is a championship caliber team this year, and I think it's remarkable.
They are. And it took till yesterday for a lot of people, including myself, to buy in, but for all the reasons you laid out. But I mean, I'm shaking my head continuously since that game ended 18 hours ago as we're taping this on Sunday morning. And I mean, there are no words to describe it because Matt, it was easy to write them off. It's impossible to now. And I mean, again, the game was tied 20-20, so I'm not going to, somebody asked me earlier, hey, you think Oregon got exposed? I mean, they were beaten at home, but I still think they're a very good team.
Yeah, look, if there's one thing we've learned about this new era of college football, which is why I love the 12-team playoff, is you're never counting anybody out. A 2-loss team is going to get in there. I don't think Oregon's going to be a 2-loss team. Dante Moore is a really good young quarterback. They have all the positions in place to make a run, not only at the Big Ten title, but a national championship. But this is about Indiana. I mean, this is about a 2-year turnaround, which I said last night on College Football Final, and I really believe this. This could be one of the best turnarounds in college football history. And not that we haven't seen things, everybody brings up Bill Snyder in Kansas State back in the day. That was a sustained period of time. Paul, this is overnight. This is Curt Cignetti coming from JMU, and in year 1, taking a basketball school to the playoff. In year 2, doubling down on that and bringing a better team to the fight. He always mouths off on camera. Sometimes people think he's writing checks, his body can't catch. Then his team goes out there and plays like this. Look, for the Big Ten right now, it's Ohio State and everybody else. They've won 14 consecutive games as the number 1 team in the country. But I don't know that if those two played today or tomorrow, that it wouldn't be a game that comes right down to the end of the 4th quarter. And to say that about Indiana football, to me, is one of the more bizarre things you could say in college football right now.
Yeah, and Matt, there's absolutely nothing attractive about Indiana from a football standpoint. It's as simple as that. I mean, it's been a wasteland for football for forever, with minor exceptions. And I don't know how he's done it. But it is him. So there's no reason to try to say, well, there's some other reason. I look around at big time football programs that struggle, like Auburn, to get sustained success, where they have everything and it's in a football state and they're Heisman Trophy winners all over the place. Indiana has absolutely nothing going for it, or had nothing going for it until Cignetti got there. And we can sit here the rest of the afternoon and try to find more reasons, but it comes down to him. It's that simple.
All right. So people are going to hate me for going this route, but it's worth the conversation. First of all, we were talking about this in studio last night off camera. Do you find Curt Cignetti likable?
No. The answer is pretty simple. I think you know me. I shoot straight. I respect him to no end. But
absolutely,
he's brash. He's over the top. He's had the last laugh, which is a really great attribute for somebody who is successful. And he's probably laughing right now, watching this, going, the guy with no hair gave me no shot. He laughed at me, and look who's got the laugh now.
Right. He's sitting there thinking, I don't give a damn what those two bozos think. But okay, so that's my next to follow up. Is Indiana, is IU a football school now, at least for the last 2 years? Are they going to be able to keep Cignetti? And does he strike you as one of those guys that is going to dig in, build some roots at a place like Indiana, like we've seen Matt Campbell do at Iowa State, some of these high-profile coaches that build their resume and stay at a smaller footprint school? Do we think that this is sustainable in Indiana?
No, it's not. So I just don't think it is. And Matt, that we've seen a lot of coaches who have stayed at the roulette wheel too long. And I think if, Cignetti's at an age where he's thinking, I probably have another move left. Where is it and for how much? And I would encourage him to think about it, because I just think at some point you'll get the wrong quarterback. You'll miss a little bit, and it will crash like triple witching hour on Wall Street. That's just my thought. Now, by the way, I would have gone broke betting against Indiana this year. But that's just my gut feeling, having watched college football for a very long time.
Yeah, because now what you're seeing is when you start connecting dots around the country, Paul, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think this offseason coaching carousel is going to be one of the craziest we've ever seen. Yeah. There's going to be so many good jobs open for how many quality coaches that are out there. We don't know. There's already a number of them open. Right. That's only going to be more. There's going to be a domino effect. And so Cignetti, I think, look, let's just say the Billy Napier thing doesn't end well. You don't think Cignetti's not going to be 1A or 1-1 on Florida's list? There's already another SEC job open in Arkansas. You don't know what's going to come open. I just find that it's going to be an offseason where there might be too many good jobs for the amount of quality coaches that are available.
And last year was one of the dullest coaching carousels we've ever seen. There wasn't even an opening in the SEC, but I think there'll be massive openings. And that's just, sometimes you don't know what's inside somebody's head. But I think he's been amazingly successful and fortunate. But Matt, it's hard to dial that up every time. You see it across college football. Really good coaches, if not great coaches, slightly make a mistake on a quarterback, and there's no turning back during that season, and then you're right back at it again the next year. This isn't where you're building sustainability. It's mass chaos right now, and Cignetti has been successful at it. I would bet against him, like trying to do this 3 or 4 years in a row ago.
You want this, you got that. No way, watch them walk right past you. Run fast while you have the chance.